Goddamn heart attack. Jesus Christ.
I want the recording to know.
I'm gonna leave this in. Hello and welcome to Third Wheel, the show where we discuss anything that we want to talk about, and one person will more likely contribute less to the discussion than the other two. That person is then dubbed the third wheel, and the other two will proceed to make fun of that person. The third wheel of the last episode will pick the topic of the next week, and I am your host, Steven. As always, I am joined by my two co-hosts, Brandon and Grace. Say hi, guys.
Chair.
Hello.
I thought you were gonna whisper it.
Chair.
I was really ready for just chair.
Sure.
Anyways, guys, welcome to Third Wheel. We will begin talking about some sort of topic that Grace has picked out because she was the third wheel of last week's episode where we talked about simping.
Was I really?
Yes, you were, though. You were the third
I mean, I
wheel.
was, but
You
was
just
I
weren't the-
really?
You voted
weren't the
yourself.
loser. That's true.
You voted
but,
yourself.
I mean,
No, you were the
But
third
was
wheel.
I?
You just didn't lose. You were the winner of that. You found a way to win at a podcast where there's only a definite loser. Like, there's no winners. There's only one loser, and you found a way to win while still being the third wheel. So,
I want to watch you cry, Steven.
That's
I choked on my own saliva.
That was me. You're welcome.
Steven, guys.
Wait, hang
Gotta
on.
continue the podcast without him now.
Damn, dude. I don't know what that noise was.
Anyway,
Anyways, Grace, what topic have you decided to torture us with since you said you would make it hell for us?
I don't think this is as much like hell as it is just really, really good for me. But times, I don't know if this is good either way, but times our parents fucked up. It could be like they accidentally like caused us physical or emotional pain, or times they just like did something really, really funny, but just also wrong.
Interesting. I have a story that comes to mind, but that's not how this works. Grace, you're supposed to start us off with your story being the third wheel. There was a reason you chose this topic, and we want to hear it.
There was. It depends. Do you want to hear the first story from my mother or from my father? Which one do you want to hear first?
Which one is better? Which one's funnier?
So it all started when I was
I guess we're gonna figure it out.
Okay, what's the female version of little lad? Oh, when I was a little lass.
Yeah, there you go.
I think it'd be
All right.
a young lass.
All right, when I was a young lass,
When I
my
was a
parents.
little woman.
All right, shut up. Oh, shut up. Hold on. When I was a young lass, my parents got divorced. Sad. Anyway, so like most divorced parents, my parents do not live together. So the way custody works is my mom had me during the week and my dad had me during the weekends. And so, yeah. Anyway, moving on. Just a little backstory. Now, so I show up to my dad's perfectly fine, whatever. I'm vibing. And then all of a sudden, I just feel really, really sick. Like, I can't explain it. Just hits me out of nowhere. No other symptoms other than, like, I just feel kind of nauseous. So I go up to my dad and I'm like, hey, I'm not feeling that great. Like, what do you think I should do? And me thinking he'd be like my mom, being like, oh, some Pepto-Bismol. Maybe try eating some rice. No, this man is like, you know what's going to make you feel better? Drinking a big-ass glass of salt water. Because the only possible way you will ever feel better is if you make yourself throw up.
So, like, drinking or gargling salt water?
Drinking it.
Oh.
Yeah, drinking it. Straight up. Right?
That's
So
disgusting.
essentially, this isn't like a small children's cup. This is like one of those big ass glasses, like your biggest glass. Like, I feel like this man could not have given me a bigger glass. And especially as a young lass, it was super huge.
The self-control I had in myself to not say that.
Shut up. Anyway, so I'm kind of like, well, my parents know best, I guess. So I just drink over half the glass, and it's gone to the point where I physically, my body physically refuses to swallow any more water, right? Like, it's that bad.
Jesus.
I feel even worse. And again, I feel like I'm incredibly nauseous, but I just still can't throw up. And so I go out to my dad's and I'm basically crying. And I'm like, hey, I tried drinking all this water. I literally cannot swallow anymore. I feel worse and I can't keep going. And he kind of looks over at me and he's like, okay. And that was it.
Oh.
It's really
Yeah.
waiting for more right there.
Yeah, no, that was it. No, he didn't even care. He was like, okay, you do you. Sorry it didn't work.
Sorry I made you drink some more salt water and make you feel worse. Leave me
For
alone.
real. Oh my god, for real. The one with my mom was really, really simple. And that was, as a child, I was just very, well, as a young lass, I was very over dramatic, about everything. Partly because, as a kid, I still do have sensory issues, but as a kid, it was way, way worse. And so I was sensitive to everything. Now, I'm allergic to cats, which is very unfortunate because we have 3 and had 3 as a child before I realized I am very much allergic to cats. And my biggest problem is, I would love touching them, petting them, etc. But then I would always touch my eyes and they'd literally swell. And
Jesus.
obviously not great. So essentially, when my eyes get all itchy, I need to put in eye drops. And so I asked my mom to help me. And she's like, okay, I'll go get them. So she comes back and I still do this method. It's not a very good method, but essentially you close your eyes and you open them. Yeah, this is before my mother and I figured out that strategy. So she's holding my eyeball open and she's holding my eyeball open and she squeezes the drops into them and I start screaming bloody murder. And my mom was like, bro, you really need to chill out. You're so over dramatic. It's not a big deal. Because it does. If your eyes are agitated and you put in, eye drops, it does sting a little bit, but it's fine. So she opens my other eye up completely, squeezes the drops in, and again, I'm screaming at the top of my lungs like I'm on fire.
No.
Just to imagine the angle of someone walking in, seeing your mother basically pinning you down, holding something above your eye, and you're just screaming with your eyes bloodshot red, and they're just like, what in the hell is happening? What are you doing?
I feel like all parents would just understand and walk away.
Yeah,
but
your siblings are just like, Mom, what are you doing? Your dad's just like, get her, honey. Get her.
But yeah. So essentially I'm screaming and I can't open my eyes and my mom checks the label and they were not eye drops. They were in fact ear drops and I'm not being over dramatic. Yes. So which again was met with my bad. But no, I'm kidding. She felt really, really bad, and she doesn't like it that I tell it to every single parent that's an earshot. But personally, I think it's really, really funny.
That is amazing. That is really funny. That sucks, but that's really funny.
All right, Steven, let's hear some of your stories.
Oh,
Apparently,
okay.
since you never went to the hospital, I'm sure you have a lot.
Okay, so this story is a reoccurring story in my family, and I'll have to think of a story for my dad while Brandon is talking. Maybe he'll spark some memories for me. But this is a story about my mom, and to anyone in my family who might be listening to this, um, just know that I've been told this story by like different ways, like three different ways of how this story went down. But I'm gonna tell it the way that was funniest to me to imagine. Okay, I don't care what actually like really happened because I was like 5 years old, so I don't remember this story. I just know that it happened, and I'm going to repeat it the way that I first originally was told this happened. So,
I don't
five.
care if this makes you sound like shit. This is the funniest version.
Exactly. Okay, so 5-year-old me, my family, I'm with my family. It's a Disneyland trip, okay? All of us are there. So how my family would be aged is, I'm the 4 or 5-year-old toddler in the stroller. I have one of my older brothers who would be 6 or 7 at the time, and then I have my oldest brother who would then be close to the teenage years. He would probably be just about to turn 13, and then my sister would then be around 16 years old, 15 or 16. So we're all at Disneyland, whatnot. My dad is like scavenging the entire park for the best place to get a churro, and my mom is like looking around for whatnot. I think she was going into one of the gift shops or whatnot, and she told my sister, "Hey, watch your brothers," and then goes off to go wherever. My sister then goes, "Hey, Ryan, who's my older brother, watch your brothers. I'm gonna go into the gift store." And then my brother Ryan looks at my 6-year-old brother Matt and goes, "Matt, watch your brother," and goes into one of the gift shops. and and
6 years old? Oh my god.
and they didn't go far. They were like, I was in a stroller right outside one of the stores that Ryan and Mariah went into. And Mariah is my sister. So they both were in that gift shop and whatnot. And me and Matt are just chilling outside. And Matt looks at Ryan and is like, "Okay, I'll watch him." Turns around and I'm not in the stroller anymore. I'm just not in the stroller. And my brother just went, uh, and like didn't do anything. But he's also 6 years old. What is he gonna do? He just stood by the stroller. My older siblings come out, and they don't know where I am. And then my mom walks over and is like freaking out because her 4-year-old son is nowhere to be seen, and the three people she left in charge of him have no idea where he went. She is like now turns on mom mode and is now scavenging the entire park, looking around the general area because she knows I couldn't have gone far. She's looking around and then she spots me in the distance, and she goes over and she starts spanking me like,
Oh.
how dare you like walk away and all this other stuff. And
Bro, oh my god, is your mom gonna get thrown out of the park?
no. So yeah, she's doing this whole bit of like just like you can't walk away without telling anyone. How dare you do that stuff? And then this woman comes up to her and goes, "What the hell are you doing?" And she's just like, "My son walked away and I'm disciplining him." And she's like, "That's great, but that's my son."
Oh no.
My mom looks
Oh
down to this
no.
crying child who is not me.
Oh
After having
no.
just slapped the shit out of this child in a
Oh.
public park. And my mom is like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And then and
Oh.
kind of just like leaves after that. Kind of just walks away back to us because she thought she found me, and now she didn't. And then she just beat the crap out of a child that wasn't hers and still
How did
hasn't
you recover
found
from
me.
that?
She walked back
Oh.
and I was in my stroller. I had just gone
Oh.
back to my stroller. So apparently what had happened was that I looked at Matt and went, "I'm going to the bathroom," and just left and went to the bathroom. And I was gone for the perfect amount of time to leave to the bathroom without anyone notice, and then come back just after my mom had beat the shit out of a child to look at her
Oh.
and her just be like, what the fuck? The biggest concerning part about this story is that the mother of that child just didn't seem to care. Just did not seem to care that this random woman had just beat the shit out of their child. She
I
just
think she
walked.
understood, like, as a mom, it
Maybe,
happens.
but I feel so bad for that kid. We we have like occasional like family nights where we all get together because like I'm the youngest and I'm gonna be 19 at the end of this month. So like yeah, my older siblings have moved out and do other things. Like my sister's almost 30, so it's like they have their own lives, their own places that they go, and so we hang out and do whatnot family gatherings. And almost every single time we talk about this story, and we have this reoccurring bit that that child just cannot stand anything Disney after that, has a traumatizing experience, and like just has Vietnam flashbacks any single time like Disney is mentioned, or is just like approached by like an older woman. Like Karens would just apparently like make him freak the fuck out. It's like, dude, that child is now a messed up person because some random woman just grabbed him and beat the shit out of him at Disneyland because he was roughly the same age as me. He had to be like 4 or 5 to look like me, and to like just
Jeez.
have that same appearance, and it's like. Wow, Mom! Glad I was in my stroller.
Okay, but the
Because
biggest question is, though, is like, did she not notice the different clothes, or was she too big of a rage to see the difference?
I was told, because again, like I don't remember this story, I just know that it happened. Is that we were wearing roughly the same clothes. We might have been. We were wearing like a baseball cap that was red, and like your typical like little boy outfit of like like the tiny like cargo short whatever thing. So like we were dressed similarly, and so she was just like, "That's my son," and just started hunting.
Oh.
Oh,
I just love how the other mom was like, understandable.
it's just like, have a nice day. I hope you find your son, and I hope you beat the shit out of him. I had a real mom moment there. A real good connection.
Dang. Wow.
Yeah, no, it's like how your mom, Grace, just doesn't like that being told to like any parent. My mom just doesn't like that story being recreated. Just period. She's like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I beat the shit out of a child.
Yeah.
So what?
My mom Yeah, my mom doesn't really like that story because she feels bad when she thinks about it, not because she doesn't want to like let others know of her mistake. But I think it's really, really funny.
Not because she doesn't want to admit to just almost blinding you and then telling
Yeah,
you to suck it up.
essentially. I don't even think my dad remembers the saltwater story. I don't like. To be perfectly honest, it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't remember. I remember that my dad, this isn't a fuck up as much as it is him being a dick, but essentially, when my sister wasn't feeling good, he told her to take like a certain medication. I think it was like one of the kind like for younger kids that you like, take as like a syrup. And so he's like, you know what you should take with that? Some milk. And my sister, again, trusting my father, drank it, which made her throw up
That's
because
so
you're not
sick,
supposed to
yeah.
bind it to. And then
Ah,
he
ew.
and his girlfriends just started laughing.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna be like, he told her to add the syrup with some salt water.
Yeah,
Everything can
no.
be fixed with some
Salt.
I don't
salt
think my
water.
sister was as stupid as I was. But milk, being an actual edible thing, she's like, why not?
That's
Damn.
that's traumatizing. That's unfortunate. Brandon, how about you?
Okay, so
What's your parents' story?
I would like to just first of all
No.
state that most of these stories involve my dad because I genuinely cannot think of a
All
time
the
where my
stories
mom
involve your dad.
I- um and just because they do mostly involve my dad does not mean that I love my father. Okay,
Wait, it
No
doesn't mean
comment. The
it
viewers
means
at
that.
home already know.
I'm sorry,
I,
but you worded that very poorly.
I
You
know,
said it
I
doesn't
know.
mean you don't. It doesn't mean you love your father.
I do love my father, but
Okay.
I just wanted to make it clear that some of these stories, I don't know, like,
All I'm gonna say is no comment towards Brandon's dad, but I'm sure the listeners at home know how I feel.
okay.
Anyways.
So I'll start
Yeah,
with
tell us about your awesome father.
so I'll just start with a really quick one just to kind of set the mood.
That sounds super depressing. Like normally when
so
people say that, they say it with like some enthusiasm to like hype people up. That just sounded really depressing.
yeah, we're gonna ignore that. So both my sister and I are allergic to cashews. We found out at separate times. I found out when I was very young, when I was a young lad.
God
Actually,
damn it. God
I
damn
know
it.
when you were
uh,
a little lad, but
little
I think the
lad.
better question is what aren't you allergic to, Brandon?
I can eat peanuts and almonds, literally like those, and then every other nut's like nah.
Okay, can
Nah.
you name a fruit other than an apple that you can eat?
Uh, I can eat peaches if they're like already in like the slices in the jar, but like
Yeah, but you can't have peach skin. Do you know how weird that is?
yeah, I don't know. It's the skin, like a certain fruits that bother me for some reason. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, we're getting off track. My
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, okay, but yeah, no, I found out I was allergic to cashews like when I was younger, and then Ashley had a similar experience of eating cashew. Like, we're not like deathly allergic, but when we found out, like all that happened to us was like our lips just kind of swelled up. But then a few years later, I got an allergy test done, and we asked them if they could like, because I just got the one where they prick your back with different stuff, and then they just like measure how big of a reaction your skin has to it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
when they pricked cashew nut oil on my back, it was apparently the absolute largest scale, whatever, to being allergic to it that they had. So I don't know what it'll do to me now. So
Brandon
I
got
haven't
pricked by
tried to.
cashew oil and grew another back.
Yeah, so I don't know what it'll do to me now, but basically we were sitting down for dinner one night, and all my dad and my stepmom are trying to, do better and stuff like that. So we're having a salad, and my dad set the salad in front of me and my sister. And me personally, I don't know about my sister, but I just like to, eat my veggies, get those out of the way before I eat my main, like the main course. And as we were both about to start eating our salad, like it was like we were in our mouth. I just hear my dad say, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa!" No, no, like, just like whoa, 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 whoa. Like what? And it's like, this has cashew nut oil. Like, oh,
Okay,
so he almost.
I think it's really weird that even though your children are allergic to it, you would make a meal with it. I don't know. I think that's really, really weird. You're making the assumption that your children are gonna want to eat their dinner.
Like, I
Honest
don't know.
sauce.
Yummy.
I don't know. I did, like, as soon as that happened though, I did kind of, because my allergy doctor did say that first, just for mostly with like vegetarians and stuff, that they have started adding like cashew nut oil to certain foods and stuff in replacement for like protein and stuff. But so I guess I have to look out for that. But yeah, no, my dad apparently grabbed one of those salads and almost fed it to me and Ashley, and who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the quick one. So now we'll get to the main one. That I have.
Oh my god.
So so uh my dad got remarried to my stepmom when when I was either in 6th or 7th grade, so I was about 12 or 13, and
Would
I
that make
was
you a medium lad?
yeah,
I was
I
thinking the
was a
exact same thing.
I
Oh.
was I was a I don't know. We'll figure out a name for it later. But um,
I don't know.
so
Medium lad.
I was a part of my dad's set of groomsmen and Ashley the bridesmaids, and Ashley's my sister's name, by the way. I forgot that I didn't clarify that earlier, so now I did. There you go.
I'm gonna cut it out.
Okay. Uh,
I'm pretty sure you
um,
did. I think you mentioned it.
did I? Okay.
Find both
Find
of them
out.
and cut them out.
Fun fact: I have a terrible memory, so there you go. So then, yeah, and uh, basically, at the end of the wedding, my dad gave all his groomsmen gifts for being his groomsmen, and I got the same gift as all the other groomsmen did, which happened to be a pocket knife with my name engraved on it and a lighter. And, this at this point in time, I can't remember. I don't think I've owned a pocket knife before then, but uh yeah, so that was basically my first well, it was my first pocket knife that I actually carried around with me. Obviously not at school and stuff, but was just on my person when to
I'm
use
pretty
as a
sure that's illegal
utility
in
and stuff.
California.
It 100% is.
Yeah, I just want to throw that out there that you were committing an illegal every single day.
It was just a
Committing an
pocket knife,
illegal.
bro. It's okay. We'll figure that out later.
No, you're a
But
felon. You're a felon.
okay, well,
I'm reporting you.
whatever. Well, there you go.
Whatever.
You know what? I wasn't there. There, my dad did that to me, so there's that one thing. But that was not what this
Does
story is
that mean that
about.
we're calling the cops on your dad?
No, this is not what the story is about. So
Some
one
cop
day,
in Roseville's gonna listen to this and just be like, "Oh, I know who you are. I'm gonna find you."
oh,
Very interesting.
so, uh, actually, it may not. I don't know. Well, because you'll see when I get into the story. But basically, I don't know if it was for my birthday or if it was for I think it was for Christmas. It was like a month after Christmas, or it was a few weeks after. I don't know, sometime after Christmas, and I had gotten a Nerf gun, and for some reason at the time, like the Nerf guns just had very weird the instead of like zip ties, they had that really just weird just coil, whatever. I don't know what it was made out of, but um I just was like, you know what? I don't want to go downstairs to get scissors. I'm gonna open it with my pocket knife. So, one of the things my dad told me was like, just don't put your hands anywhere near where you're cutting. So I did that, right? Like I was cutting with my right hand, and I had my left hand just kind of as far away as possible, but just to the side of the box. So I start trying to just kind of wedge the knife in there and start trying to cut the coil stuff, and so I'm doing that, and the knife just kind of gets caught on it all of a sudden, and so I just kind of try to it just wasn't really budging just by trying to pull it out. So I just kind of pushed on it really hard, and it unlodged, but it decided that it wanted to just the tip of it hit a part of the Nerf gun, so it went towards the direction of my hand and slices my thumb open. And I'm bleeding pretty bad. Like, it's bad. Like, it is a very dark red blood. And I'm like, I need a band-aid. So I just kind of put the knife when it happened though, like I didn't it was very weird. I didn't even feel it because I think my body was going into shock at that point because I did not feel it. Like I just was like, oh, I'm bleeding. Okay, so and then I was trying to find band-aids in my bathroom, so couldn't find any. So I go up to my dad, blood quite literally pouring down my hand. I'm like, hey, Dad, I need a bandage. And he's like, he looks at my hand, his eyes get so big, and he's like, buddy, I think you need more than a band-aid. I think you need to go, and then he turns to my stepmom, he's like, okay, we need to go get stitches. They could, like, put me under or whatever, but I would have to go to the main hospital for that, and there apparently was really busy that night. So, my dad and I were just kind of like, you know what, we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna, you know, we're just gonna have them numb your hand and then you'll do it while you're awake. Then we're like, okay.
You guys decided or your
Oh.
dad decided?
I don't know. I was busy trying to I was staring at my hand. I think I just wanted it to be over with, so I just went along with whatever my dad
You were
said. But
busy
yeah.
trying to live.
So surprisingly, it did not hit a vein or anything like that in my hand, which yeah, that would have been bad, I guess, if it did that. But so I'm sitting there in the chair about getting ready. They gave me an otter pop to suck on while they were doing my stitches. That was cool, but
that was cool.
all the nurse was injecting my hand with whatever it is to basically numb it. Which, by the way, did absolutely nothing because there were still needles going through my skin. I absolutely felt that shit.
Oh, jeez.
It doesn't like stop sensation or feeling. It essentially just makes it hurt less.
Yeah, but yeah, it hurt like the motherfucker. While she was doing that, I could hear the doctor chewing out my dad saying, "Why did you give a 13-year-old a nut?" Like, whatever. And so, like, my dad got chewed out for that. But so, and then
I would like to counter that with literally any other Boy Scout has one. He totally could have gotten out of that had he said, "Oh, my son's in Cub Scouts."
I actually was in Cub Scouts at one point, but not at that point. I was in Cub Scouts in like the 1st through 3rd grade, and I stopped doing it just because.
Lucky, yeah. My mom just lied and said she was going to sign me up for Girl Scouts over and over and over, and then didn't on purpose.
But I was definitely not in Boy Scouts at this time period. But so the doctor walks in. And he's like, "So how'd you cut your hand, buddy?" And I'm freaking out, like, oh my god, I'm gonna get in trouble if I tell him I just messed up while cutting something. So obviously, the logical thing to do is to tell them that I accidentally left it open on the top of my shelf, and I bumped the shelf, and then it fell and just landed on my hand and cut me like that. So that's what I told them. That's what I told them.
Yep, totally believable. I'd believe it.
Yeah. And that's what I told him what happened. And he was like, huh, okay. So
yeah, totally believed you. I could tell by that response. He was totally on board with that story.
Yeah, but so yeah, I got stitches, and honestly, this is cutting off from like more of the stories that I don't know. My dad got chewed out for giving me a knife, but I just want to say that whoever that person was that gave me the stitches, when I got him taken out, I got him taken out at a different ER, by the way. And the person taking him out was very surprised because he put like 8 stitches in my thumb, and the guy was like taking him out was like, "What the hell? Like, you only needed like 3." And I'm like, "Oh, that's great." But
this guy was really like, "Hell yeah, extra practice." This bitch ain't gonna say nothing to me.
I'm gonna make sure that nothing escapes out of this stitch.
Yeah.
He's like, "This child will never say anything against me."
So yeah, that was unfortunate.
Well, I definitely did think of a story about my dad during all of that. Not
Yeah.
because of any similar reasons. Like, this has nothing to do with your story. It just got me thinking of just like, when has my dad ever made like a mistake like that? And then I came to the realization that, oh yeah, I remember a time. So there's a baseball team in Reno called the Reno Aces. They're like semi-professional, kind of like how G League works for
They're a
basketball.
minor league team.
They're a minor league, so they just exist, but they're not in the MLB. So like no one really cares,
Mhm.
but it's cool.
I care a lot. I went to a game, and for the other players' walkout songs, they just did very effeminate songs. I thought it
Oh
was so
no,
funny.
no! The going to the Reno Aces game is always so funny because Reno is such a chaotic mess of just anything that you
Mhm.
have absolutely no idea what's gonna happen, and that's where this story kicks in. So my dad gets tickets to a Reno Aces game, and he gets one for him and his best friend, and then me, my brother, and our best friend at the time, who was like our childhood best friend that we've known for like ages. And we first go to the Dollar Tree in order to like get snacks and whatnot, which you can't do. You're not allowed to do that. The whole point of going into a stadium is that the food in there is the only food that you can get. It's a a strategy for them to make more money off of concessions than they actually do off of tickets. The whole point of tickets being cheap is because you can't bring in outside food. If you are hungry, you have to eat there, and their food is overpriced. That's how they balance out everything. Um, and my dad's just like, fuck the rules. We're going to the Dollar Tree and we're gonna grab all this stuff. My dad has like this really huge backpack, and he's just like, yep, fill it up, grab all this shit. Like, and at one point he grabs like a fucking those huge packs of water bottles, and I was like, Dad, you have a backpack. You're not gonna fit that in there. He's like, no, we're just gonna take a bunch of them and put them at the bottom of the backpacks. And I was like, why are you buying a whole pack of water if you're only gonna use like 4 bottles of it? And he's just like, just go get whatever, I'll pay for it. And I was like, those are really bad choice of words. And so I walked over to the candy aisle because that's all I cared about at that time. I was like, this was like, I don't know, my freshman sophomore year, so like whatever, I'm still a teenager, but all I wanted was like some Swedish Fish, some Sour Patch Kids, and Dr. Pepper, and that's all I wanted. And I grabbed a
You
bunch
and
of
I
those.
could not have more polar opposite taste.
I don't
Ew.
remember asking.
I don't remember befriending someone with terrible taste.
uh but you already can't tell the difference between sodas, so I'm not even gonna acknowledge that.
Shut the fuck up, Steven.
Damn. Shots fired.
Anyways, yeah, so I just grabbed a whole bunch of shit, and because he said just grab whatever, I grabbed a lot of like everything that I wanted. And so he was just like, all right, put it in whatever, we're getting all this stuff, and we buy all this shit. And my dad and his best friend like have been best friends for a while. And like this was just kind of like a night out from the wives, so that we can get like a guy's night out. And he was just like, hey, we're going to the game and you guys can come with us. By the time that we were there, like we live about 15 minutes from a Dollar Tree, and my dad had already been like one beer in. He had like one Bud Light, and he was already one beer into the night. And we all get out, and we're about to head towards the game when my dad just like looks, we're leaving a parking spot, and drives just head first into one of the lights in the parking lot. And it's
Oh.
not one of those just like metal light posts that's kind of like on the edge. This is one of those ones that has like that cinder block concrete circle around it, like cylinder around it, that elevates it quite a bit. And he just drives straight into it. Like he was trying to do
Damn.
that thing where he was in a parking space and drive forward through the empty parking space to just go out and get around without having to reverse. Because like I said, my dad has a van, so like making it easier. But the way the parking space was aligned is that that light fixture was in the center of 4 of those. So where all of those lines meet, it was right there. And his van is too wide to drive straight through based off the angle he was going at. So he just drove straight into the light post. And then he was like, oops, and then it backed up, and we headed to the game. and and he wasn't drinking while he was driving or anything. Like, the both of them waited till they got there, and he was like, all right, guys, you can't they can't catch the food. Just put like your jackets, take your jackets off, put those at the bottom, like shove them down there, make sure that they can't get through anything. And we, like, me, my friend, and my brother, we all get through the gate, and so does my dad's friend. Like, we all get through the gate first, and it's because we didn't get a lot of stuff. My dad has this huge ass backpack, and when he sets it down, you just hear from all the water bottles that he put inside of his backpack. You just hear the crinkling of plastic, and the dude's just like, come on, come on, man. And he was just like, I just have water. And he shows him, he pulls out like 5 water bottles, and he's just like, all right, fine, I'll let it slide because it's just water. but no, just no. And so my dad goes in, and he's just like, ha, and pulls a Bud Light out of his bag. He's just like, it's almost too easy. And so we get to the game, and my brother, my friend, and I, we're like sitting a little bit away from my dad. So we started to move closer to the field because there's not a lot of people there, and those seats cost the same, and there hadn't been a person there for like 3-4 innings. So we're like, all right, we're just gonna move closer then, I guess. But my dad and my and his friend stayed up past there, and my brother, my friend, and I got to watch as the game went into OT, which meant that and we got to watch both of them just get drunk off their asses.
Oh.
and and it was so funny because, like, the both of them are just there yelling whatever, being, your typical white man at at a baseball game, and just, drunk off of their asses yelling whatever, and we're just sitting down there just like, what is happening? Like, I'm one of those people who's lucky enough to have never seen my dad drunk before, and never had like any bad repercussions from it. And like, that's just never been a thing for any of us. So like, we we're all just like sitting there, just like, who is this person that is with us? I don't remember what was going on. And as we're leaving the game, like, him and his best friend they're just both drunk, and he asked my brother Matt to drive, who would have just gotten his license like a couple months ago, so he would have been able to drive all of us. And we drive home and whatnot, and my dad is basically just shit faced in the passenger seat after that night of everything. And we get home and whatnot after like dropping off his friend. I think his friend's car was at home or whatever, and we all go to bed. And it took like 15 minutes to wake my dad up. He was just passed out on the passenger seat. And granted, since the game went into OT, it was like, I don't know, 10:45, 11 o'clock when we got home, and he goes to bed at like 9. So like, he's done, he's tired, he's over the day. And we had to like basically just walk him back to like his room, and walk him back inside after that, only for him to just realize that he had like some kind of board meeting or something, because he's a distributor, but he also like teaches a bunch of other people like how to be a salesman and whatnot, and he had one of those like meetings the next day. And he was basically hungover when he went to that, and was so messed up after that for the rest of that day, because he was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna drink a lot. And it was like, what, Friday night. So he was like, yeah, I'll do this, and completely forgot that he had one of those meetings to do for that. And we had to just sit back and watch him just get just get drunk progressively throughout the night. But yeah, it's not one of those like messing up stories with me, but I just will never forget the moment where my dad got so drunk in front of the both me and my brother, and just did some really, really weird things at a baseball game.
Damn. Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, I also have another story with my dad. So this was before actually. This was before him and my stepmom got married, and so I was younger than 12. I was probably, I want to say, like 10, and my stepmom at her mom, who lived on a ranch in Petaluma, basically inside that house we'd visit on that ranch every other weekend or so, when it was my dad's weekends, uh and there, in that house there was a painting of just fruit. It was like one of those paintings of that, just of a fruit bowl or whatever, and but uh, uh, he uh, he did this magic trick thing for me and Ashley, where he would make it look like he's kind of scratching at the painting, and then he would make whatever fruit he was scratching appear in his hand. And when he would do that, 10-year-old me would be like, "Whoa, whoa, what? What?" Like,
Mesmerizing.
yeah, like, yeah, and I would think he would do that every now and then, and of course, like I would have to ask him to do it because he was the only one that could do it. And I just thought to myself, I need to figure out how to do that because that could be an endless food supply for me. Like, I had plans. Like, so just whenever he would go up there, and when they weren't looking, I would just kind of start scratching at the painting. Of course, nothing would happen. And
Trying to single-handedly solve world hunger.
yeah, and, and and I just kept scratching it. And the thing about me is I'm a very stubborn person, sometimes to a fault, where I will not give up, even if it's like, pointless. And that's what was happening. I kept going, and it got to a point where I basically destroyed that painting because of the amount of scratching I
I
did.
was
Like, I
gonna
just started
say.
tearing off like the paint, like whatever. And yeah, and yeah, so I basically destroyed one of my step grandma's paintings in her house because my dad showed us that trick.
That's
And,
fantastic.
yeah.
Well, Grace, do
I
you have more stories?
I had an experience when I was a little young lass.
I hate this. I hate this. I don't like
I was
it.
Yeah, again, this is one of those stories where like relatives have to tell you, just because like you're too young to remember. In this case, I
Right.
think I wasn't even a year old. I was few months old, but I guess I just had like this raging fever, and so for whatever reason, I was screaming nonstop. I wouldn't stop crying. No medicine would make me feel better. Nothing my mom did like worked, and so I was screaming my head off for 2 days, basically. And so my mom didn't get to sleep or rest because I didn't get to sleep or rest. So my grandparents came down from LA, my dad's parents, to, help out and whatever. And so my mom is like, okay, well, it's been a few days and she hasn't, like her symptoms haven't lightened up and she's still literally screaming every 2 seconds. I'm going to take her into I don't know if it was like the ER or the doctor's office. But she's like, okay, I've got everything. I'm gonna go. Bye. So she says bye to my grandparents, and she's in the car. she's vibing. And as a child, being in the car always calmed me down. I don't know what it is or why, but I was just very weird. As soon as I got in the car, I was dead silent. So my mom is like, oh my God, she stopped crying. It's a fucking miracle. This is beautiful. I have not heard silence in 2 days. So my grandpa calls and he's like, hey, so how's it going? She's like, oh my God, it's so great. Like, I think the car ride's calming her down. She's just like, I think, just like, not being in her crib is helping, She's like, I'm glad that, like, she's okay. We're going to be at the doctor's in a few minutes. And he's like, yeah, that's great. You left the baby in the office. So
Oh.
he drove 10 minutes to the doctor's office thinking I was just chilling. In reality, I was in her office just screaming and crying.
Oh.
My mother was very
Oh.
disappointed that I was not silent. I was just forgotten.
Damn. Damn.
Yes. Very unfortunate.
Oh.
I know way too many people who have a similar story. Like, that is honestly a frighteningly reoccurring story that I've heard. And
I feel like it's just baby brain, honestly. Like, you're so focused on everything and you're not getting any sleep and whatever, so you'll bring everything but the child.
Well, my mom, she had been leasing an electric car, and it had like all the new systems, whatever, on it, and just for work and stuff. But and I just one day while getting out of the car, like she put it in park and whatever. And
Does that
was
mean
about
that
to
this
turn it
story
off.
happened when you were a big lad?
Well, I was adding on to your guys' points about it being a common day occurrence that once she turned the car off, like before it completely powered down, there was just big words on the screen saying "check behind you" or whatever and stuff like that. Check your back seat. And I asked my mom, like, why does it say that? And she had to explain to me that people literally will forget their children in the back seat or their infants in the back seat, so they put that in the car for people like that. And I'm like, huh. That's
I feel like your mom would be the type of person to be like, I can't imagine how anybody would forget their child. There's just my mom.
I actually can think of one story where my mom fucked up that does affect you guys. Not as nearly as, like, not in the sense of what my dad has done.
Do
But-
tell.
Curious.
So not in the same sense of
No, don't downplay it.
incidents
Stop
I
down-
have.
Stop
Yeah, no,
downplaying
tell us how she
So-
affected. We want to know.
So when I was a very young lad,
God damn it!
I'm sorry, I'll stop.
You should.
but- No, I was around the age of 8 or so. Actually, well, hold on. So one of it, yeah, I was around the age of 9 it was, because I was like just going in the 4th grade. Yeah, because I was
9, I
Around-
say. I was 9.
I was 9 around the 9 or 10, and basically there's a video of me where I had never seen the movie Napoleon Dynamite before, and you know that scene towards the end he gets on that stage and does the dance, like
No.
Describe
wait,
the
have
dance, Brandon.
Oh, I can't describe it, but
Oh my god, I
basically-
think I know where this is going.
basically, the actual, like, the song that plays for that dance was just like on the radio as, like, my mom was parking the car in the garage, and for some reason little me was like, I'm gonna dance or whatever, so my mom videotaped it, and I was just kind of doing my thing. I was just doing what came to mind. And a few days later, my mom's cracking up, and like, she shows me a side. She asked me if I've ever seen the movie Napoleon Dynamite. I'm like, no, I've never even heard of that movie. And she literally shows the video of me dancing and that stage scene of his side by side, and we are literally doing the exact same dance moves and stuff. Yeah, so there's that one. There's one video of that, and then there's a second video where I don't watch Jimmy Fallon's late night show, Saturday Night Live or whatever, but I guess there's a clip or a scene there where he did a little bit called like Tight Pants.
I'd just like to say I'm really glad that you pronounced the full name of the show.
I can't exactly remember what the song. I would play it, but I'm pretty sure you'd get copyright or whatever. But basically, like it was like I got my pants on, like that kind of thing. Like,
Wait, can you do that again for me?
I'll do that for you later. But basically, it was a really just goofy bit, whatever. It was kind of dumb, but it was supposed to be dumb in a funny way. And for 4th grade, we did basically an Oregon Trail like live simulator thing, like just in class kind of thing. And one of our field trips was to Sutter's Fort, so we had to dress up as the character we were going, like we were assigned. And my character's name was Tony Wilson. He was a farmer, and so I got these brown slacks, but these brown slacks were very tight on me. They did not fit me because basically our teacher just kind of referred us to this one lady that she knew that kind of did Pilgrim or like just Pioneer or whatever, just that kind of time, like she had all these different costumes for all these different time periods, and she just kind of rented them out to students or whatever, people who needed them. And this is where I got the slacks from, and yes, they were just very tight on me, and I just had to make do with them because that's what I was given. And my mom had the bright idea that I reenact this Saturday Night Live bit of Tight Pants. So she plays the song in the background, and I'm literally like just doing this dumb dance, just like whatever. It's very cringy, and yeah, she takes a video. She has these 2 videos on her phone, and these are videos that you and Grace could have saw, or seen. Bad grammar. I had graduated high school. I promise.
I don't believe you.
These are videos that you guys could have seen, but alas, my mom dropped her phone in the pool, and those videos are lost to the void.
Yes, very tragic.
Yeah. So
I
my
thought
mom
you were gonna build up this story to be like, yeah, these 2 videos are on YouTube, and they're like very, very popular videos, and they have lots of views.
Here's something mind blowing. Brandon was on a billboard as a child.
Oh, do tell.
That's it.
Oh, okay.
That's not what this episode is about, Steven.
But yeah, so if my mom had not dropped her phone in the pool, that's possibly videos you guys could have seen. But they're lost to time.
Interesting.
I was very curious on like how that story was going to affect me at all until that very end.
You could have gotten a laugh out of it probably, and
a meme. But you know what? I think the concept of you doing these dances, but what you look like right now, your 19-year-old self. I think that's funnier to me, actually. I think that's way funnier. All right. Well, Grace, do you have any last bit stories? Any last ones?
Hold it.
Fuck off.
I'm gonna leave.
Yeah, no real other stories. I'm sure that, somewhere along the lines, my parents did fuck up equally, if not worse. But those are the ones that come to mind.
Yeah, I can't really think of any other times that are like super significant like like the two that I shared. So,
Uh-huh.
all right. Well, anyways, we'll start with the deciding on who the third wheel of this episode is as we bring
I
this
think
to a
I'll
close.
start.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, this one was really easy for me personally. I think Brandon's the third wheel here because, like, I feel like I got maimed by my mother and father in two different ways. Your mom literally beats on another child. And Brandon was like, oh no, I fucked up myself, but my dad got blamed for it.
He contributed to why he said.
Okay, but it's not about whose parents contributed to a fuck up. It's whose parents fucked up.
He set in motion a chain reaction of events that led to me getting
Yeah, okay. And then also, like, I would love to see those videos, but also, that was an accident, not like a fuck up. Dropping your phone in the pool is totally something I probably will do in the future. Like, it just
I
seems...
did that literally an hour ago.
Okay, but like, that just shit happens. Like, literally last week, my roommate knocked on my door and was like, do you have rice? And I was like, why? And then my other roommate got exposed because across the room I hear she dropped her phone in a Best Buy toilet.
Oh.
I was like, oh, I feel like that's just so easy to do nowadays. I don't think it's like a fuck up. It's kind of like an oops.
I don't know why I wanted that story to just end with she just really wanted rice. Like, I don't know why, but I was really expecting you just to be like the other day, my friend was just like, do you have rice? And I was like, no. And she's like, damn. And that was the conversation.
Weirdly enough, I did have rice. Anyway, anyway, that is why I'm going to vote Brandon as the third wheel. I feel like there wasn't enough bodily harm to satisfy.
Well,
talking about, I got stitches.
Well,
all right, Brandon, go ahead.
What's your piece?
Yeah, this was actually a tough decision for me because, like, yeah, Steven, your mom beat another kid. Goddamn! Like, and then yeah, Grace, you did get maimed. So I don't know. Huh?
I got maimed and forgotten.
And forgotten. Damn.
I mean,
you could save yourself the hassle and just vote yourself.
I was gonna say, out of self-preservation, I want to vote you, but realistically, I think that because, like, again, both stories just kind of left me like, damn. But I think because Grace's stories involved her being directly harmed in general, that I'm gonna have to go with Steven being third wheel.
Steven's story was hilarious. That was a major fuck up. You just don't want to vote yourself, you coward.
No, it is because no harm. Because I thought the topic was like parents, times their parents like fucked up like on their own kid thing.
There was a lot of harm.
Yeah, not directly on Steven.
There was no harm done to me. Like, there was just a lot of trauma.
Okay. No harm to Steven, but some random child has been traumatized.
Some kid.
Steven's mom. No, the theme was okay. This week's episode's theme is parents fucking up. I never directly said it had to be to their own kids.
Just some kid enjoying like their first vacation to Disneyland ended with physical abuse from no one that they know. Just out of nowhere. They were literally just standing there, and they just got absolutely murked.
I feel like Disneyland is where kids learn all their harsh life lessons, because Disneyland is where I learned about service dogs, because in my brain, I was like, ooh, dog, and I went to go pet it, and I got yelled at.
Quick little side story. I went to Disneyland with the boys a couple, like, last last summer or the summer before that. It was relatively, yeah, it was last summer. And it was my first time actually going to Disneyland where I could remember the concept of being at Disneyland, not where I went and was told my mom just beat a child and got away with it. It was it was me going to Disneyland and actually remembering Disneyland and remembering that trip. And the second day of us being there, one of the dogs that's on the outside, supposed to sniff out the druggies and whatnot, is like just pursuing me. And all I have in my backpack is a water bottle and blah, 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 sunscreen. I forgot what sunscreen was.
You're just built different.
I just had those two things, and this dog is just pursuing me. And then the one of the officers is just like, "Our dog showed interest in you. What's going on?" And we're talking, and we're just like, "I literally have nothing." They check me for like stuff in my bag, and they're like, "All right, cool." We walk away, and we turn around. That dog immediately turns and beelines towards someone else, and we're like, "Yep, it's a good job. They're doing a good job training that dog." I'm sure that they just smell like chemicals and are like, "Oh fuck!"
Oh.
And just
Rip.
that just
Anyway,
reminded me of that story. Anyways,
Brandon obviously has a very flawed way of looking at things, but whatever. Steven, go
Okay,
ahead.
but you can't keep voting ourselves, though.
I
you
mean,
totally can. It's a very
you
humble
can.
thing
You
to
just
do.
don't want to.
I'm gonna piggyback Grace here. This is really easy, Brandon. I'm sorry. It's a really easy decision for me because, like she said,
No
most
harm,
of
no
your-
foul, Brandon.
most of your stories were you being a dumb child.
Yeah, literally.
Most of your stories came from your dad giving you something, and then you proved why he shouldn't have done that. It wasn't him fucking up. It was him doing something, and you were just like, "You shouldn't have done this."
Yeah, like that first story with
And,
like the cashew thing. He stopped you from eating it. You didn't even like eat it. Like maybe if you ate it, then that would make sense. But you didn't eat it.
Maybe if he sat across the dinner table with his hands in that evil villain pose, just like,
Does this
"Yes,
contribute to the
Brandon."
theory that Brandon's dad is trying to kill him?
Well, I think so, because again, this would just be way too easy. Would have been way too simple. Yeah,
It has
so-
a simple elegance, though.
Yeah, and then like I think the thing that did it for me was that when you were talking about, because you did talk about that one knife story, and it was a big one, and like I can understand your dad gave you a knife and probably shouldn't, but you said that you were like 12 or 13. You're very old enough to understand how that knife works and how you shouldn't have done that. And also just like the whole story with your painting whatnot. That you basically were just like, this painting is a scratch and snip, and until there was
Oh
no
my God.
painting left and there was just a canvas, and you were like, "Where's all the fruit? Where'd the fruit go?" Dad, you lied to me. So I don't know. It seemed super simple. It just seemed like you did a lot
Yeah,
of
no,
stupid things,
it
and were
feels
like,
like-
it's my dad's fault.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's like it was very childish things. I think it was your dad just trying to like be fun or like include you in stuff, and you're like, no, he's trying to kill me. I feel like it's you just trying to blame your dad.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to say that you are the third wheel, Brandon, which will make you
Alrighty.
the third wheel of this episode. How does it make you feel? What's your statement on that?
Alrighty.
Brandon is our first
Alrighty.
ever third wheel that's been picked twice.
Yeah,
We've all like rotated.
we did.
It was Brandon and then you and then me. So now it's back
Yep.
to Brandon.
It's back.
Does that
to
mean it's gonna be
Brandon.
you next time, Steven?
I hope not. I would rather not. But you know what? If it happens, it happens. So, real quick, guys, before we end off this episode, we mentioned in the last episode that you guys will have an opportunity to be on the podcast with us, and we're gonna go through a quick rundown on how that's gonna work. So, attached into the description of the last episode, like I said, there is my email that you can contact me with. How this works is that you're gonna leave something in the header or the subject saying that this is an application for Third Wheel. If you put Third Wheel in all caps, that's all you need. Just address that this is for the Third Wheel podcast. Then just leave a quick little note saying your name, what topic you'd like to discuss, and just different things like that. Like, hey, yeah, I want to be a part of your podcast. I listened to this episode, and I want to and I want to have this topic to discuss. And we'll go through things. We'll figure out which ones would work best with us. Figure out how things work, and we'll let you know how that's gonna work. If we do choose you, I will email you back. And how it'll work is you'll end up joining a Discord call with us. We'll run through everything, the process on, checking your microphone, audio quality, all that other stuff. And we'll record an episode, and you'll be a part of the podcast for an episode. Everything will work relatively the same, where you will then choose the topic. You brought the topic that you chose, and we will all discuss that. But you also have the opportunity of becoming the third wheel if we so choose. But you also have a chance to, be one of the guests that makes one of us a unanimous third wheel with 4 people there, which would be quite the thing. And I bet Brandon will be the first one to have that happen to him.
Bet. For real.
So if you guys
know.
are interested, I have like a 70% chance of that happening. So if you guys are interested in joining the podcast, then go ahead and email the email that will also be in the description of this podcast episode, and let us know what topic you would want to discuss with us, and see if we have any stories that relate to it, and we'll get back to you guys about that as well. Did I miss anything? Did I get it all? Sound good? Sound bueno?
Yeah, just make sure that your topic is funny and, don't be not funny.
Yeah, make sure that your topic, while we have interesting topics and whatnot, make sure that your topic is, not something that's super offensive, not something that's super inappropriate. Like,
I'm gonna throw this out here, because I'm sure some people are thinking it, that I'm the third wheel here because I'm the girl. Don't be sexist. Don't go down that road.
We just want to say that if your topic or idea, or even in recording as a whole, if anything is like offensive or inappropriate, it's not going to be something that's going to be stood for. We'll give you, like, if we do end up picking your topic and then something inappropriate or whatever is said during podcast recording, we'll be like, all right, hey, you can't do that, whatever. We'll give you off a warning or whatnot. But if you have like something like that as a topic before we pick you as an applicant, then we're just not going to look at it. That's not a topic that we're going to discuss. So we need to make sure, while this is something that will be marked as an explicit content podcast, not contest, but it is kind of a contest. This will be marked as an explicit I said it again. God fucking damn it. This will be marked as an explicit podcast, purely because of the fact that we use language and whatnot. But, like, other than that, that's as, unfamily friendly it will get here. Other than, like, maybe a few things here and there that will just be momentarily. But we won't make a whole bit out of it. That's not something that we're going to discuss. So.
Personally, if you Venmo me, I will definitely be in your corner and recommend you to join this show for an episode.
Damn bribery.
Grace is open to bribes to make anyone you want to be the third wheel of that episode.
Profanity and bribery, corruption, those are the only things we stand for here. Nothing else inappropriate. Look, I gotta make my coin. We haven't gotten any sponsorships yet.
Well, that's because we have to meet some certain criteria for that. All right? Okay. Glad we're on the same page. We are a brand new podcast. Analytics for a brand new podcast are not very trustworthy off of the gate. You have to have a few episodes that show consistency, all right? That's how that works.
No.
Oh, okay. Anyways. That'll do it for today's episode of Third Wheel. Thank you guys again so much for listening or watching the YouTube video of just a thumbnail and listening to the audio. If you like the content here, go ahead, like, follow, or whatever it is that you do on your podcast streaming platform. If you're on the YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. If you're on the Spotify, go ahead and follow us. However other podcast platforms work. Just, show us the support. Go ahead. We'll have a new video every Monday at midnight. So as soon as it turns to Monday from Sunday, we'll have a new video up there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Brandon, do you have any last thoughts as being, a third wheel again?
Don't be a dumb child. I don't know. Just don't do that.
Only learn from Brandon's smooth charisma and nothing else that he's done in the past.
Brandon, I'm gonna
Yeah.
bully you. Are you ready?
Okay.
Don't be bad.
Don't
Damn.
be
Suck.
not.
Damn, you just got
Don't.
absolutely destroyed.
I
You're
do you
welcome.
one. I do
Roasted.
you one. Do you one better. Don't be not good. There you go.
Suck my toes
He
and
really
make sure to double check your eye drops, kids.
He really said, "I'll do you one better." He really used those words in a sentence. Oh my god. Anyways, since Brandon is the third wheel, you should stick around to see what topic he chooses for next week's episode. I'm sure it'll be just as boring and third wheel type like he is. Anyways, hope you guys enjoy. Just Anyways,
Nah.
thank you guys again for listening to the podcast. And remember, unless you're Brandon, there's nothing wrong with being the third wheel.